this says we're live. I still get like this OBS error when I do Unreal Engine and OBS, so looks like we're fine. Let me know if this is actually working though. That would be good. Either way though. Well, not quite either way, but it pretty much needs to work because I need to demo this thing, but I'll leave the glasses on. So let's hop into this. So this is for a shoot that I'm doing pretty much now, but later in the week. Let me save this situation. And it's basically designed to make shooting a large amount of MOCAP easier and being able to film it somewhat live but somewhat automated. Also, these red LEDs are like incredibly bright. It's kind of crazy. Word. Okay, so the encoders look like they're up and running. I'm going to zero this thing out 1 second. I'm going to zero this bad boy out. Wow, that's the wrong way. That is the super wrong way to go. Wow, I cranked this like so far in the wrong direction. Okay, word. Okay, so let's see if this is up and running. So this is a demo pretty much for SuperAlloy to check out, but thought I would do it live. It's like an easy way to record. I don't have to edit it or upload it. Okay, so we got two main things happening here. We have this Xbox controller, which is basically off screen when I'm doing this. And then we have the two wheels here. You can kind of see them a little bit. That's controlling the pan and tilt. And I'm going to move something real quick, though, on my OBS. I'm going to move this thing. This is fairly large. A large thumbnail. Wah. A little smaller. Yeah, that's probably fine. Okay, cool. So, let's see. That's doing the thing. Okay, so Xbox controller and wheels, not the ideal setup because I'm streaming it from my computer, but here is our little demo scene and our two people. So real different now. You should be able to see it. Yeah, there we go. So when I hit the D-pad left and right, we can toggle through like these different modes of the UI. So the top one here is what I'm calling the motion capture timeline. Then we go to actor stage, then we have the man, the robot, and then the camera stage, like that. Can someone write something in chat? I don't know if the chat's working or something like that. It seems like it's not, but anyway, I'll just do it anyway. Okay, it is working. That's great. Excellent. Good to see. So, what's new now is that I have everything that should be basically changed at runtime that you'd want to change. I have it all mapped to an Xbox controller. So I don't have to go to sequencer. I don't need to go back to the editor. I can just try to get it all done right here. Looks like we're getting pretty good frame rate, actually. So for instance, you'll see it's shot 1. And if I hit this next button, it goes to the second shot. Those are all mapped to different like MOCAP files that SuperAlloy is sending me. And so now if I hit play, which is B, they'll start moving. I'm going to sync them together. And if I hit X, I go back, and if I hit A, I stop. So I have like stop, start, and play backwards. So I'm going to play forward here. And it's going to take a second because we have a little bit of little head to this take. So I'm going to change the play rate to 5. So we're going to kind of speed through it like, and there, he starts walking. Okay? So I'm going to bring the play rate back down to 1 up there. And now I'm going to go to the actor stage, and now I can actually move around basically what they're both parented to. So I can move the whole scene completely like that. So it's like a really important thing because I need to change like where in the room this mocap is taking place. Normally you'd have to go back to the editor. Not anymore though. Yeah, so I'm going to come up a little higher so I can see what I'm doing. And I'll go back to here like that. All right, so I'm going to put them like that. I'm going to go back to the timeline mode here. I made this in Unreal Engine, yes. What's going on? So I'm going to hit play and just watch this scene happen. I'm going to scoot over here. And so you can see, like, this mocap got recorded. I'm going to pause it. It got recorded, and we didn't know exactly how, where in the room things were going to be. We didn't have, like, a real, like, full virtual production setup. So we kind of had to guess, knowing that this was going to happen. So if I move the actor stage, they both move. But if I move just the dude moves, as you'd imagine. Okay, so I'm going to go hop back into this mode. And I'm going to place this guy somewhere that makes sense. Go back to man. And we're going to put him right there. Because he's supposed to be like hitting a console. That's the idea. Okay. And I'm going to hit play, and we're going to go back and forward there. So that's kind of the spot we're looking for, and then I get to just tweak like where he should be to have that make sense. So I'm going to take a peek at this. Nope, a little bit off, right? So usually this kind of tweaking is like really kind of a pain in the butt in the editor. But if you map it to controllers like this, it's not all too bad. I'm going to change the focus to him. Glad that's working. And hit play. Looks pretty good. So I'm going to take it back. We're going back in time now. Hit play. Just make sure that looks right. And boop. Okay, he hits it, right? So we've essentially changed the stage, the actor stage, like where they are, and then I've individually moved him to make it fit with like something that's specific with the actual set here, which is a panel, a little controller that will go there eventually. So with that blocking in place, it's time to, oh crap, it's time to pick the camera angle. So I'm going to switch to camera mode now, and I'm going to zoom in to about a 40 mil, like that, something like this. It's hard to see the top of the frame because I have so many lights on right now. But I'm going to go back to here and hit play. I'm going to go back. We're going to go backwards. And boom. So there it is. Okay, so we're going backwards in time here. Now I'm going to pan. This part's live, right? So he's walking backwards. He walked through the robot. That's not great. Really? Did I spin something? It's not the best blocking. So the front part of this shot's not going to make any sense, but, you know, what are we going to do about it? So I'm going to hit play, and then I'm going to live operate the shot. And go. Right? So I'm using the inertia wheels here, and it gives it a very, like, traditional cinematic feel. Boom, and I missed the frame. It's up there. Right? So that's a shot that we would have recorded. I'm not recording it at the moment because I'm live streaming it. I'm going to go back and pause this. But there, we just did the first part of that shot there. Right? And we're doing this all in engine. Now I'm going to fly over here and pick another shot with this. So I don't feel super good about where that ended up. So I'm going to resync them up. And I'm going to move the actor stage again. So I'm going to kind of like move them back. So I want them to be kind of like back in sync. Like that. And let's play it forward a little bit. He kind of comes and checks out the robot. And then the robot like springs to action is essentially what's going to happen. Ease in and ease out of the controller. Yeah, you have to write custom curves to basically remap the axes. Because there's 0 to 1 and you probably want to map them on like a exponential curve is usually what happens. If you just look up curves in Unreal Engine, that's kind of what's good. So I'm gonna do a shot now for the second part of the scene where I should have turned on GI. Whoops. Oh well, no GI. That's probably a little bit easier on my computer to not have GI running, but we get a little bit of bounce light. Obviously, if I turn on GI. So I'm gonna take a shot from here now. A and B this one. So I'm gonna bring the mocap back. We're playing the sequence backwards now. And kind of knowing that this is where I want to end up. So it's playing backwards. We're playing it back in real time, so it's going to be a little bit, but I'm good to wait. And we're going backwards, and he starts down like this. Okay, cool. I'm going to hit pause. And I'm going to push it into a... Oh, no. I'm going to push this into a 85 mil. And I'm going to go back, and I'm going to hit play. We're going to live operate this shot. There he is. And tilt up, right? So this is all live. Now, I had to change a couple things to not have like this thing get like vision called, but there he is. There's the dude. Walks right into the over the shoulder, and I can continue to live operate this like with a gear head. And this is the kind of adjustments that I'm used to doing, especially when I'm on a dolly with a huge camera. I really prefer having wheels like this. So I've pretty much recreated that in Unreal Engine, which is fun. So that's like an over the shoulder. Again, we'd be recording this. I'd be hitting record on my recorders, and that would be the footage. So now I'm going to sneak up on this dude. Oops. I was changing the play rate, which I'll do in a second, actually. But I'm going to get another shot. And I'm going to go to something a little bit wider, like a 40. So we're going to kind of boom down. And we're going to get like a lot closer to the robot. And maybe like a little bit more front on like this. And then I'm going to go back up here. And let's go backwards. Let's play it back. We're going to kind of do this shot again. But I'm going to play it back real slow. Super slow. What is going on, everyone? Okay, so we're still going backwards in time. You can see the time code at the top middle. Going back. A lot of just sitting there. Really? Really? Is there this much idling? Really? Okay, so it's going to be real boring for a second, but there he goes. Okay, so I'm going to now change the play rate to 0.25. So we're in slow motion basically right now. So they're going to move in slow motion, but I still get real-time controls of the camera. And so later on in the scene when they're like fighting, and which they are, there's like all these crazy backflips and stuff happening, the slow-mo helps a lot. So I'm going to hit play. And again, we're doing 0.25 playback right now. There it is, nice and slow. Boom, not the best framing. Not the best framing. Okay, so I'm going to hit pause, and I'm going to go back. So I switched my framing up a little bit, and he's going to go back down. It's a little noisy because like the ray traced shadows right now are a little low sampley, but it's not too bad. Okay, so he's going to stand up right into the frame. That's always kind of a cinematic thing to have someone just like, you know, pop up and just land perfectly. So I think that looks pretty cool. So that was showing like the slow-mo. We don't have any like real action-y clips at the moment. So that was one of the more action-y things. I think he sits there for like a long time, so I'm going to crank up the speed again. Get to the part where like he actually moves. I think it's like in the 50s. But I'm going to do like when he does his like ready pose, I'm going to slow it down like a lot and then film it. Film it real slow, super slow. Oh, boom, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to slow this down now. We're going to go to 0.1. Right, and I'm going to do this. We're going to see his hands first. There they are. Boom, and we're going up. A little bit of the clipping. There it is. There it is, the slow-mo ready pose, but still like real-time camera, which is pretty fun. And so like you can do this lots of different ways, but to have it actually in real time, like running, like this is basically a video game I just wrote, essentially. It's a lot more fun than like going back and like clicking on the clip and being like playback slower and doing sequencer, and like that stuff works and it's like a lot more like detailed, but it's a lot less fun. And like the momentum for me of going back to like, you know, dropping keyframes and doing it that way, it just kills it for me. I don't like it. Versus this, I'm like, okay, well, what if I did? Let's go like, oh no, that's 10x. We don't want 10x. I'm gonna bring it back, and I'm just gonna change the angle real quick. Oh, that was a lot. I was going really fast. Yeah, we're going too fast here. Let's go back and boom. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm gonna go with this to pretty slow again, and because it is real time, I'm just gonna do like another angle, and I could be recording it, but I'm not. Consider this live stream essentially recording it, really. So now I'm on a 12 mil, and I'm going to go back and still the same action, except I'm on a 12 mil, right? So like the iteration time here is like real fast. I don't remember oh, there it is. There's the hands moving. Oh, there they go. Oh, yep. Real slow on the 12 mil right in front of him. Boom. I should be framed like this. Okay, I'm going to go back. This guy looks like an Overwatch character. Just noticed that. Okay, we're gonna go back down real slow. There it is. And cool. So I'll take it from here. So I'm gonna try to think of like an interesting move. It's like, okay, there's his hand. And then oh yeah, that was it. That was it right there. Okay, so that's showing like the play rate, right? We can just do these over and over and over and over again. Like if I don't like this shot, I can just scoot over here. Actually, it's about time to turn around, isn't it now? So let's do a reverse now. And not on this one. I'm going to zoom it in. Look at the bokeh. My goodness. And I'm going to focus on the dude. There's my tilt. Okay. So now we're essentially doing the reverse. Okay. So that's a reasonable angle. I'm not like super thinking about the coverage right now. This is really just more of a demo of the system, really for me and for the team later. But let's scoot this up to a fairly fast playback, and we're going to rewind. And goodbye. Okay, so there he is. He's gone. Where are you? He's over there. Okay, great. So let's see if I can nail this shot. Let's do a playback. I'm going to go to 1. And so, you know, because we didn't adjust him like we did before, you couldn't really do the shot where he actually hits the panel from here, but that's what editing is for. Okay, so I'm going to try to play this and shoot it. Oh, God. Okay, so it's live. And he lands in an over-the-shoulder. Not final lighting, not final art, but still just testing the system. This is how I'm planning on shooting like an entire short film. We have like 30 different takes of MOCAP. I'm doing 1 right now, and it takes like how many shots just to cover this scene, right? And I'm trying to cover it like it's like a real film, like how I would do it. Like these are all kind of like 1-to-1 to being on a dolly with a remote head. You know, and the movement, I think, as well, kind of feels like it. Like, even the way that this camera is rotating, it's not just spinning the virtual camera. We have it on, like, an actual head. So, that's the over-the-shoulder for this one over here. Oh, and it froze because that's the end of the mocap take. So let's, I want to play it backwards. And so next is to show that we could do camera movement at the same time, which is a little tricky. But I like it, and I'm going to be using it a lot. So let's go back to the part where, I like the part where he like first, actually this part's pretty funny too. But I'm going to bump up the play speed and we're just going to scoot back a little bit. And keep going. Yeah, this is the part, yeah. Right, so like right there. So basically, I'll play this scene back at regular speed. Scoot over here. Yeah, so it's like when he first like, go backwards. Gotta remember the time. It's basically at 50 seconds, more or less, right? So I'm going to stop it. I'm going to go a little bit wider on the lens here, 28 mil. So let's do a dolly move for this part of the scene, right? Like, how do we do that? And so I'm going to scoot these both over here, right? Just kind of center them up like that. And yeah, so let's see. When it really pops off at about 50. Yeah, at 50, about 50 seconds is when like this like key action happens. So what we can do down here now on the bottom right, so I'm not covering it, right? Yeah, you can see it, bottom right. Okay, so if I hit X, it says 5 seconds, 10 seconds. That's how long these camera moves are going to be. And you have to kind of look at your time code to get this to work right. So say I want to start about here. I'm going to hit A. I still need to make the UI tell you that you're there. But anyway, we just hit our A mark. Then I'm going to scoot forward like this to here. Even go up a little bit. Right? So this is basically how I set marks on a dolly or a crane. Same exact process. So that's our B, and now if I hit Y, over 10 seconds, I'm going to slowly just creep, perfect techno crane shot essentially into this, and I'm still live on the head for shots that we need to live operate, which is most. So we have that now, and knowing that that shot is about 10 seconds, what I'm going to do is go back to this up here, and I'm going to go back about 5 seconds to about 45, like that. And so now when I hit Y from here, if I'm correct, if this actually works again, what's going to happen is that they're going to start playing and my camera move is going to start playing all at the same time. And I should land about in the middle of that shot at the action I wanted. So here it goes. And I could live operate it. I mean, this shot doesn't really need it, but we're camera moving and boom, there's the action. So with just this like simple system, like camera goes A to B, live operation, and being able to essentially move the mocap people where I need to, I can basically shoot the whole thing, and I usually do it from my cart. I'm just doing some live streaming. I don't even need my mouse and keyboard, right? This is like a video game to shoot this. And all I have to do is ingest into basically one data table all the mocap takes, and I can just shoot the whole thing right here. It's the only way I see getting through something like this, because if I had to keep going back to sequencer and like doing like all these like, you know, the kind of like in-editor things to shoot like 50 or 100 shots, it'd take like weeks. I pretty much could shoot this whole thing in probably like 2 hours probably, and then do it again, you know, and it's like, and just do a blocking of it, and it's all just like live, and I get better at operating the live part. So I'm going to do this again, but I'm going to change the camera shot to being 5 seconds now. And I don't have this kind of stuff queued up at the moment, but I got to go back to like 45 seconds, I think it was, yeah. What up? What's up, Nick Bauer? The Remote MoCap Actor Network you mentioned? There's a Facebook group called Remote MoCap now. This mocap's from SuperAlloy. Which we'll have a lot more to say about that when this is like actually shot. But this is like one of our first mocap clips that I'm practicing with still. We did like a remote mocap session where we kind of like zoomed it and Skyped it. A little bit of remote directing on the mocap. And now it's like my side is to build this program that makes shooting it like fun and easy, you know, but also like cinematic though, like not crappy looking. If possible, if at all possible. So, okay, so I switched it to 5 seconds now. And I'm going to scoot back a little bit like this. Yeah, that's not bad. And I'm going to try to do like an actual, well, it's a quick move. But anyway, let's watch it. Ready? Here it goes. Boom. 5 second version. Much faster dolly. Boom. Action happens right in this shot. Right? No. There are keyframes to make this happen, but I'm managing all the keyframes behind the scenes, essentially. So I could kind of go in for like profiling coverage if I wanted to from here. Like something like this. I would probably scoot them closer together. Let's do that, actually. Maybe I will. I don't know. I'm not super... I don't know if I would do a shot like this, but there they go. And then they get closer together. And the wheels actually have a little bit of dampening in them, right? So it's not like a one-to-one. They're actually very smoothed out already. So you just like inherently get these like very smooth camera moves. I'm going to scoot up on this dude. The other thing I was trying recently was like ray tracing this stuff, and it works great. I'm not on the Quadro yet. I'm getting a new computer for that card to like really take advantage of it. But even the 2080 Ti, which you're looking at right now, this is 4K pretty much. Pretty killing it. I haven't turned on ray traced shadow or reflections. We could do that. I'm not streaming it. Kind of hurts my computer a little bit, so I haven't been doing it. But just to see like some still, you know, like this guy's not moving, so you can like really like see how smooth the tilt is in the pan. This is just the wheel going up and down like that. And the way that the camera is actually rigged is it's very... It's not how most CG cameras get animated, I'll say. It's very much more like a traditional remote head, the way that the offsets are set up. So there's some subtlety about the way that this camera is actually moving. It's less robotic, less gimbally. And then combined with like the keyframe system and the smoothing that happens with these wheels, it just has like this really great live feel to it, you know. And I continue to have fights with 3D people, but like I'll just say that I cannot animate this that well. You know, I'd like to treat this more like live action. If I turned on the GI, we'd actually get a little bit of bounce on his face there too. But just to show, like, you know, with them still, you can kind of appreciate the camera movement a little bit more. Like this. And this is just, I don't know, this is like the way I like to do it. You know, I think a lot of people are going to go into sequencer and do it that way, completely fine. But I'm more interested in making like a real-time system like this. And just like flying around and experimenting with it. And I don't like having to manage time, like timelines. I just don't like it. So even a shot like from here, I'm like, what if this is a new position? This is a new position on the dolly, essentially, right? And I can just hit play and then hop on the operating. You know, the operating. So I'm going to switch focus actually to the robot and just watch the scene happen. You know, this is the end of the take when they're like, oh, okay, that was a good take, moving on. But it's to me, it's just way more engaging to shoot it. And I think like just this one take, I could do this like over and over again and find new stuff, new angles. So let's go for like a really different angle that we had before. Kind of rewind everything. Yeah, from like this walking part, right? So let's do like, I kind of pre-scouted this angle. I kind of know that this one like looks good. But I'm going to do a shot that comes in from here when he walks back. Something like this. What's on my tilt? There we go. I'm going to tilt it back to here. And, yeah, no. I should turn on ray trace for reflections. Will help a lot. But, oh, it's over there now, huh? But yeah, I'll do something like, I don't know, I should do something even more different. I should look at the front angle. I haven't arted this for 360 yet. That's like one of the next parts, is to basically take all the mocap, block the whole scene in this style, just make sure everything fits, and then I'll really know, like, hey, like, where are we seeing? Where should I really put some more art? And then watch the performance too, be like, is this stuff too heavy? Like, do I have to optimize anything? Let's show you a boom up shot. That might be good. That would be cool. See if I can pull that off. So it's essentially like a techno crane, right? It's like a perfect techno crane as far as like the camera moves I can do. And I have all the smoothing and stuff built into it, so I don't have to do it like over and over again. It's just like more like live. So I don't need it to be like a 10. So you've already stood up then. Yeah, so there it is. It's right there. Okay. So let's look at the time code when he comes up. It's about 32, 33, right? So let's do, if at 33, he's going to stand up. It's really like 32. We call it 32. If I go back 5 seconds, it'll be like 28-ish. So like about here. I could probably work on some like delays too to make this easier to live operate, but still just playing with it. Oh, I was going like fast on the frame rate. I'm going to actually slow him down to 0.5. So he stands a little bit slower for me. And I'm going to set the A mark here. And I don't know where he lands. Crap. Well, I could set it. I'm just going to test it here. So those are my 2 marks. On a 5-second move, we'll make it a 10-second move. Let's see if I can do this one. And action. Oh, there it is. So we're booming up. He should be standing up. Damn it, stand up, robot. Oh, what the heck? Oh, it's because it's 0.5. Ah, yeah. That's why. Tricky time things. Okay, we're going to go back. So I'd have to double it, basically. I guess I won't do the half speed thing, because like I'd have to do math. That part I could probably automate too. I mean, I definitely could. I just have to think about like what makes the most sense, really. So, okay, so we're back to normal play rate mode. So I'm going to hit Y. Here comes that boom shot. And then I can live operate the tilt if I mess it up. There it is. Oh. Right? And so, like, you would probably not animate it this way if you were doing it with keyframes. You'd be like, oh, you just perfectly follow it. Maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. But, like, that's a very realistic camera move. It's like, you know, the camera's booming up, and you use the tilt to kind of chase the head if you want it. And then it lands asynchronously from like him being perfect, and I tilt down a little bit to get it. And that's a complicated thing to keyframe. Like that's just a lot of things happening. And like, but mentally when I'm shooting it this way, it's not that complicated. It's more like how I would, you know, block this if I was doing a movie with a real dolly or a real movie crane. It's like that's exactly how I would tell the grips to do it. That's exactly how I would operate it. And it pretty much works here like that too. And it ends up with like, you kind of have like happy accidents, which is typically something you don't get when you do it keyframing it, right? It's just like, oh, let's do it. You just end up with like things that are like a little bit too perfect. At least when I do it, because I'm not like a very good animator. I'd rather just like kind of find it live. So I'm going to do a shot like this now, and we're going to scoot in all the way to a close-up on him, right? It's like I could take this 1 second in time and just do this like over and over again. So that's B. So we're doing 10 seconds. That's a 10-second move. So we kind of want to find like when it makes sense to do it, right? Definitely not now. I think like when he does like the ready pose, I'm going to do that like big fly-in, right? So it's like, when does that happen? Boom, it's at 55, 51. So if I come back to about here and go for it, all right? So I'm going to start Y. Oh, I messed up the tilt. There it is. So we're basically dollying in at the moment, right? And I like doing the tilt and pan live. And it just gives, I don't know, it just gives it like a different feeling. And it's because it's a little off. It's not perfect, but you still try to do a good job with it. I don't know. I'm into this. And so like there's a couple new concepts here too. I'm going to pause the mocap. Actually, all I did was overwrite the A-frame. I need to work on that. I'm going to boot back out to like a super wide. So anyone who uses Cinetracer, this is stuff that's not possible, and it's kind of the reason I'm doing this big project, is because I'm like re-allowing myself to like think about like how to do this again. Like Cinetracer, I wrote the core framework for Cinetracer like 2 years ago, and it's not changed much, but I've learned a lot. And then doing this project, like shooting it, I'm like, okay, if I have to do 100 shots, the way the Cinetracer works is very slow, so I had like a while to think about doing this faster. And so one of the main differences here is that there's no pawns. I got rid of pawns. Pawns is like for video games, like I don't really need that whole concept. So there's no pawn. Everything's manually controlled by the player controller. And the thing that you can't do in Cinetracer is move things like this while you're actually looking through the camera. That's one of the big things that's different. Then I can move him separately, like that. I can move the robot while I'm looking at the camera, and I'm still live framing, right? So it's like I'm able to like tweak things, and the way that they move is all relative to the way that the camera's moving. So you would say move camera right, camera left, move upstage, move downstage. It's the same exact thing here, mapped literally to controllers that hopefully make that intuitive. So I'm thinking about doing something similar like this for Cinetracer, for like really the whole game almost happens in the camera view, which that's just not how it works. And so if you look at the UI, there's like this top part, then there's this next part, and then we go right to the bottom. There's another line, and that's going to be for lights. That's so that I can do live lighting control there. I just haven't worked on that yet. But I'm basically going to be able to be like, you know, because I'm trying to map the things that change in a shot. So, for instance, if we're doing this shot here, like, focus on this guy. Like, he's a bit dark in the face, right? So what I'm going to do for this next part is I'm going to be able to go to my lighting part, and I'm going to spawn a light. I'll just like, boom, here's a square light. And I'm going to be able to move it around while I'm looking through this shot, make it brighter and darker, do the barn doors, and then shoot this one shot here, right? And I'll just be like, okay, action, we have that light in this one place for this. Okay, they kind of go through each other because it's not set up right. But then as soon as you move to a different shot, you have to move that light again. And so everything that has to basically move every single time you do a different angle, a different shot, I'm trying to map it live because I don't want to hit escape, go into the editor, move it around. It's like I want to do it like all like right here. So that's kind of the next step is we basically have the timeline and the mocap at the top. I could do multiple shots here. We could do different speeds of playback and go backwards. This is moving the positions of the actors in the stage. And then this is the camera. So this is like focal length, the A and B movements, and then live pan and tilt at all times is like a requirement. And I actually have live focus and some other stuff, but I can't show the hardware that does it. So I couldn't show that on this demo. But basically the things that you would have live on a film set, I want live right here. And things that, you know, basically can be done because it's 3D, which is like mocap actors takes forever. And honestly, those camera moves, just doing them perfectly like it was a techno dolly, that's okay with me too. But I do have the equipment to make the camera moves completely manual as well. That would require like another person with me, which I clearly do not have here. What's up, Alvaro? Anything else? Yeah, the wheels give it a certain look. You know, it's not like everything needs to be shot that way, but I'm just kind of going through like the different things. So I don't have the other mocap loaded up, but if I go to my mocap mode here, and I hit this, I've just loaded up another mocap take, and we have like 30 or something like that. So I have a lot to get through, but this helps manage all that stuff for me. So I'm going to resync them together like that. And if you've ever edited mocap, this is like something you probably, you know, you basically have to do an editor. I'm just doing it like in a video game now. And now let's see what happens if I play. Okay, so this one, for instance, like this happens a lot, is like their mocap origins are just not aligned at all. Like at all. And actually where they're spinning from is like insanity. So I might do some sort of like inverse transform to kind of make the rotation a little bit more straightforward. But anyway, this happens with mocap. Like they were just not at the same time in the same place, right? So what we have to do is scoot hit. We have to like realign them. And this is part that like kind of sucks, like to be honest. Like this part usually kind of is annoying. And can change depending on like how asynchronously it was blocked. But I'm trying to make it so that it's cheatable. Because the thing is, like, it's not even that like you set it once and then it's like it's done necessarily. It might be different per angle per shot, right? Just like how stunt stuff happens, like per angle. So you're gonna have to like constantly tweak like what angle makes sense. So like say we're doing it from here, right? This position might make sense. But then if I come around from like a different angle, right, we might have to do it again differently just because of the camera angle. So this is stuff that's like constantly tweaking. So this system hopefully makes it easier and easier. Now this is not going to sync up like all that great. Like it's but like the stuff we did, like the production mocap we did, I think is going to sync a little bit better. But this is the point of this system, is so that I can like, you know, basically scrub back and forth in the mocap, find the moment that I really like, kind of zero in on it and be like, it's about here, right? So like we're gonna get this like big, like, oh, like that, okay, right? So like this movement, like what is the best angle for this, right? So we just bullet timed it, right? We could even record this as a shot. We just did this is the bullet time version of that shot now. That's kind of cool. You could like see his face. Now when you're actually moving, I don't know if you're gonna actually see it, but like, so say we like this angle, kind of crazy. Zoom in a little bit, right? Zoom in even more, right? So this is what we're going for. This is awesome. And then we 0.1 the playback. Whoa! Oh my God. Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit of heads and tails here, and we're gonna hit action, right? So now I'm gonna live operate it. So they're going at like super slow-mo now. Yeah, there's a lot of clipping of the hands and stuff, but we're looking for like this one moment that's like boom, right there. Oh my God, that shot just got like kind of explicit, but the face part was good. I like the face part. Anyway, so this is the point of this system, is to really just like freeze time, find the shots that look good, bullet time if we need to, like this, but then also, you know, bring it back, have it live operated. And if I had one other person with me, I would also insist on live focus, because like kind of missing the focus is awesome, in my opinion. If it's like right now I can't miss. The focus is perfectly set to his eye or their eye, and it's too perfect. It doesn't look right. I'd add like a little bit of breathing, and I think it would just look. It just these little things, these little feels, Just they change how it looks just a little bit, tiny bit, right? So here's where he lands. I'm going backwards, right? Yeah. Okay. So now we're gonna from this angle. Oh my god, this is insane. Okay. So there it goes, slow mo 0.1, and I'm live operating the head. I kind of missed it, but that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to overshoot it, right? Like, right? So like I think it would be very, very time consuming and pretty difficult to approach coverage like in this like kind of loose and improvisational way, like with any other means. I wouldn't know how to do it. You could find it. I just think it would take a lot longer. Right? This in slow-mo looks crazy. Oh my god. So yeah, so this is a toughie, okay? Because it's like, you know, if you don't get it perfectly lined up, like he's through the ground and like they're like, you know, through each other, you know, so it's not the best example in the world, but that's the only other mocap take I have. So, you know, just picture like, you know, I have all the mocap from the shoot that day. I'm gonna line these guys back up. And it's like kind of like doing dailies in 3D, you know, but then you have to be able to change everything. So I'm looking the wrong way here. Oh, and they're going at 0.1. That's no good. So that's the system in a nutshell. Not the like smoothest, like simplest presentation of it, but I need to be able to show this to a couple people. And we're going to be basically doing a pass. Like once I get all the mocap data back from them, we'll do like a remote Zoom call where I basically load it all in. I can just go to like, hey, what take you want to look at? What part of the take? Do we want it slow-mo? And then we can basically on Zoom be like, the director, Eric, can be like, hey, let's do it from this angle, because he's like really the stunts guy. Like he knows which angles are going to look good, and I can just do it. And then once we kind of do that whole scene, we do like everything, then I can kind of go back and be like, okay, the backgrounds are really empty back there. I didn't like the lighting of this take. And I can just go back and selectively shoot it as I want, like take per take. And I live record it, right? So I don't go to sequencer. I don't hit like 50 sequencer things after this. That would overwhelm me. I just want like... I just want footage. So at the end of the day, when I'm done shooting this, I just have 1080 ProRes footage that I go and edit. We lose a little bit of the flexibility of like, hey, I could infinitely go back and tweak everything, but that's a line I'm okay with. I don't want to go forever, right? Like at a certain point, you want to just like do it. And this is like where I call it, and because I'm more of a DP, I don't really want to go back and like I don't want to tweak any keyframes. I'm like, this is what we got, and this is the shot that we did. And the test is to see like, hey, how does this come out? Like, does this make cool results, right? Like, what's the footage look like? And also, like, how painful was it? How fast was it? I'm talking with a couple studios right now, and this is the case. Oh, you're going real fast. This is the case study. It's like, well, how long did this take you to do, right? How long would it take you to do like a couple episodes or something like that? You know, like, and this is a very actiony one, whereas like a lot of them are just dialogue. It's just people sitting there talking. You could just like, it's not that. It's not. This is a little bit more difficult as far as the blocking goes. But with the A/B system, I feel pretty confident that's like I could shoot a lot. Walk and talks, I'm going to have to build something different, and car scenes would have to be a slightly different system. But I think for the majority of blocking, something like this would work out fairly well. Ugh. So that's pretty much the demo. What time is it? I got up at like 7, which is early for quarantine. Let me tell you. And I've been programming this since, just like one piece of it at a time. And this workflow only like just came together. Like I built the camera move part first, and then I built the mocap manager, and then I built the stage managers and like the different mappings of the controls and what speeds make sense. It took a while to get it tuned up. But I'm really happy with it. And also, I think Cinetracer is going to end up moving a little bit in this direction. Now, why is he so spun off in that direction? Also, this part's not art directed yet. I haven't done that stuff yet. But I'm going to scoot this dude back over here. Is his hand up right now? I can't even tell. Like, there's a lot of potential for, like, this shot to be cool. Like, the console that he's about to hit isn't there yet. But, like, this is, like, kind of, like, make or break for the movie, in my opinion. Like, it needs to be good. Let's go back. Right, and so like I could do this scene over and over again. That's my virus scanner. I know. I don't need that shit anymore. That's why. Stupid subscriptions. Okay, so something like this. So this scene again. I'm going to scoot over here, and I'm going to shoot. Okay, so looking that way is not so good right now, okay? There's no art back there. Not the best, but, you know. Like, there's this moment where the robot turns on, right? And so, like, we got to get this part of the movie right. Or else, you know, it's not very good. So what I don't currently have is, like, a focus triggering thing. It's live, right? Like, someone has to come, like, hit it for me. Like, but I guess I could just, if it's just focus, but it's kind of like, this moment's important. So there's a couple different angles of it, and I'll basically just shoot a ton of angles until I like it. And even if I don't like it, and then I pass it to the director and be like, okay, can you help me with this to make this better? Something like that, maybe. And let's go back. Let's play it like a little bit. I need to have like some more slow speeds like this. Okay, he's like breathing. That's kind of spooky. I need to turn on ray tracing too, so he would have reflections once I turn on the ray tracing. But we'll do the scene from like here. Oh, this would be cool, actually. Okay, ready? And action. So he's like walking over like that, and then we like reveal the robot. Boom. Oh, scary. I would pull focus probably. Yeah, let's pull focus to this dude. Go back. Focus. How come the focus isn't changing? Oh, crap. What? Now it is. Oh, now I'm in like no man's world. This coverage is crazy now. But like that shot, you know, that's an important shot that I need to get in there. What am I doing right now? Oh, it's because I'm tilted up like crazy. I'm like, how am I supposed to see this guy? I have a button to reset the pan and tilt. And then right now we have basically like, they're off sync. And I can move them physically, or I have it bound to basically fix to resync their MOCAP positions. Then I rescoot them around like this. So that's the demo for the most part. The most programming part of this was basically figuring out like, you know, I was doing demos before this, and I was like, hey, like I'll do like, literally it was just like people standing there, and then I'd film it, and I was like, okay, well that's pretty doable. And then I did the project with McCann Inns, where like the guys were like walking through the hallway, and that was like all in about 20 seconds of footage. I was like, and it's still just one take, right? So I filmed it like 5 ways. I was like, oh, that's kind of a film. And then we're looking at scaling this bigger and bigger. And so this was the next step, was to do a short film. No dialogue yet. That's a whole nother layer, is having audio and the face moving. But like, let's do like an action scene where there's like, you know, I think there's 25 takes or something like that. And so how many shots? And then all of a sudden, that's like a much bigger project. It's like, oh my, like that's like 30 different MOCAP takes. Each take might have like, you know, 8 angles or something like that. I mean, infinite really. And it's like, so, okay, so how do I approach that, given that I'm relatively lazy and do not want to spend like weeks keyframing all of these things? So I came up with this system, and it actually would work perfectly for the Cinetracer system as well, once we allow like importing and that sort of stuff. Like, it's just how do we streamline this and make it more fun from the perspective of like the director DP. So like they're mostly looking at, you know, blocking, set design, lighting, and the camera, and not so much like animation. Like I'm not going to build like animation tools. Like that's not like it's not needed, but it's not what I'm going to do. So it's really like, how do we super, super fast lay this out and film it and come up with angles really quickly? Like this is throwaway. Normally rendering stuff like this, it's like, that's a huge commitment. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to render like an hour of footage. I'm rendering it right now. This is all, you could just take this off of YouTube, except my face cam's in it, and edit it. You know, so it's like it's live action footage. And I try to treat it that way and think about it like this. The same way. I get like, I like want to shoot H.264 because like the ProRes gets so big after a while. I'm like, I don't even want this. And then let alone 4K. Once we get the Quadro in here, do like 4K HDR versions of it. It's like, oh, the footage is gonna be gigantic. Like editing it's gonna suck more than shooting it, which is crazy for 3D. I like this angle. I have a couple other concepts lighting wise for this movie, but I haven't mapped the lighting yet all the way. So I'm going to wrap this up by doing this one last shot from this angle. Oh, see, it's live. It's crazy. Okay, you just walk right through that wall. just walk right through it. And I'm going to do it in slow-mo because I can. Oh, hello, robot. I walk through walls because it's a hologram. It's a hologram, right? Completely feasible. Okay, where's the third? Oh, I overshot it. Looking at the robot. Can do one of these shots now. The ground's not good because I haven't added like decals and stuff like that into it. The Megascan's debris. We're going there. I'm gonna zoom in. Oh no! Oh no! There we go. Boom. Oh, he doesn't like it. Now you can actually see his eyes. He's got really good eye shaders. I just haven't lit him yet. I'm gonna scoot over like. It's like while I'm shooting it, I can still just like this. Wish we could do that on a real dolly. Just like move over. That would be very bumpy. And to me, like, so even like, let's go back to. So to me, what I'm interested in when I'm doing this type of shooting was the lighting, which this lighting sucks, but it's just what it is for now, is that like there's a difference between this and this, and there's a difference between this and this. I actually like that because you see his arm, right? Like there's these little discovery things that happen. Like this looks awesome, actually. Like if we, like this is literally the process. It's like, okay, like this is why you spend so much money on like a dolly on set, is because it allows the DP, like camera operator, to like kind of do this. It's like they can kind of float around and find shots, right? And so like there's these little differences between like being up here and being down there to find like the best angle possible, you know, to tell it. And then it gets multiplied even more. I'm going to slow it way down. I'm going to go back. I'll just play it. It's even more complicated when you start moving it too. So it's like one thing to frame up a perfect like frame of like a still, but then it's like the motion too. It's like, you know, so like what, like this is what I'm interested in. It's like these little nuanced, like looking for like perfection in like the tiny placement, these little movements. And I think that has to be real time. I mean like someone probably can do it, not real time, but like I would go crazy. What happened to my focus? My focus is bugged right now. Oh no, I'm in playback mode. That's why. Huh. There we go. So we're focused on the robot. If I had some good music on right now, I could just do this. And I turned the ray tracing on and wasn't streaming it. Just do this all day. Super slow-mo. Like everything's 1,000 frames per second with my perfect floating techno crane. Damn it, I need someone to pull focus. Boom. There it is. Right? So it's like, so if I give someone live, you know, like 2 people, we would destroy this. Like it's just like being on like a real set again with a techno crane. Like one person rocks this Xbox controller, I smooth out the curves a little bit. Someone's pulling the focus, and I'm on the head. And then we have the gaffer on the lights, like all in real time. It's just like, I think we just end up with a better result, and it could just happen faster. I wouldn't say better, but like I end up with a better result. Not everyone, but like, that's what I see in this kind. Like, this is cool. Like fucking slow-mo, man. And I could have someone like fading up a light. You know, like I have all this stuff rigged up. I just have only me, however, to do it. Right? So just like, it's like, oh, should it be like a little bit closer? You know? That was almost smooth enough to have it be like in the shot. Man, look at the bokeh on this robot's head. Robot bokeh face. Oh, it's focused on the front of his head, so they're about to get real intimate here. Yo, what up? Yeah, I need to work at, see, this is where we need manual focus, is like the focus targets move, or like they're not perfect as soon as you get really close. Manual focus, no big deal. Just fucking nail it. Get it right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much, pause this thing. That's what's going down. That's what I was working on today. Lighting is not there. I don't have the ray tracing on. So like this is not like final R&D. The set's not done. But as far as like designing a system that makes it like, you know, manageable to shoot this much footage, you know, quickly. Like I want to spend like an hour or 2 doing this. Let me get bored. You know, I don't want it to be as hard as being on set. You know, this is, you know, this is my take on virtual production, is to shoot it in this way. So we lose a lot of like the flexibility of like forever tweaking the sets over and over again, but I kind of like that. That's kind of something I'm not mad at. T1000 vibes. The connection to the experience in filmmaking is simply awesome. This will make way for integration production pipelines on not big budget. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is that like, I'll switch to like, 1 second. Cool. Look at this red ass layer. It's so bright. I think you could turn those down. I wonder if you could change the color. Change the color of these would be kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of my thought with this, is that like, you know, even if like, so like, if you're a filmmaker and you're not used to like frame rendering, and you approach something that's 5 minutes of footage and you render out the frames, it's like an extra step that like I think a lot of people just won't do it, right? So this for me, even though it's more expensive, we just record it to ProRes and you edit it. That just it's like one less friction step, right? And when it comes to going demos again in the real world, if that ever even happens, I'm gonna have this on a cart running off like a laptop or like some ridiculous PC, whatever. And like all you need is like Xbox controller and the wheels and a recorder and like pretty much like film it like DPs that have been around, like they should be able to bang out coverage just like that, plus the lighting. And you're just recording it to footage at the end of the day. It's not even like a VFX workflow. It's a production workflow. And so that only works for certain jobs where it's like, yeah, we're going to bake the footage like right there. This is it. That would scare most VFX pipelines. But for me, that's what I see from this, is to streamline this. This could be done in Cinetracer once I'm done with it. This doesn't, all that stuff could be put in there as well. And it's just like more of a productions approach to VP, which I know is semi-controversial, maybe. I don't know. But these big-ass wheels. I like them on my cart better, but I couldn't stream. I don't have like all the webcams and stuff. I got ideas, but this is the only way I can live stream it at the moment. Where are the pedals? Yeah, for focus? Yeah, you could use it for whatever you want. I have like a ridiculously large input manager now that manages like all this stuff coming in. And then it's just like that UI kind of organizes it. It's like, where do you want to send the input? So I have that now. The pedals, I like to sit. So like they're useful for some things, but really it's just like being on a film set. It's 100% someone's job to manage the focus. Even if it's like switching between what target, like even if it's doing autofocus, you still have to be like robot, dude. And then it's like click manual, right? Like if I want to get a shot like of the ground and it's like we don't have a tracker for it, it's like I want the focus there. That's got to be manual because I'm trying to get this shoot done in an hour. Like we just talk, right? And one of the questions is like, can we do this remotely, like over the internet? If I spend a month and like replicated Cinetracer, we could do it multiplayer, but we have latency, which is the biggest issue. But like someone could be pulling focus somewhere else. But I think honestly, like that, like 2-second delay in latency is just not something I'd really want to deal with yet. But when I look at production this way, there's a couple things that are streamlined. Actors essentially, like if we just mocap them, a lot of traditional animation happens on the mocap side and cleaning up the hands and the face and whatnot. But when it comes to shooting it and having a director and a DP and a production design, like the art department could be in here at the same time doing the same thing, is that it's like full live. No, we could do multi-user, like multi-Unreal Engine sessions and such. But I think there's a lot of value to single box operation where I can throw a ton of controllers on one system like this. And as long as we map it correctly, like this goes fast. Like I could shoot this really quickly and come out with like pretty decent footage. And especially once I throw that 8K, that Quadro in here, recorded in 4K, it's gonna look, I think, like really nice. Are you currently working on the fixes for Cinetracer? I hate that question. More like I'm redesigning how Cinetracer works completely every single time. That's really more than it is. It's early release, like legally I can do whatever the fuck I want because it's early release. So what up? What are you using to hold the controller? It's like a Manfrotto Pixie and then like a NewTek iPhone holder. So things that hold iPhones perfectly hold Xbox controllers, which I found was like, that's like really in there. It's pretty, I say that and it falls off. Well, there you go. Don't shake it too hard. But for the most part, like the Xbox controller has this little like box thing that you can hold on to. And if you don't shake it like that, that works fine. I'm looking for better options. And honestly, if someone builds like a film industry Xbox controller, I'll buy it for like $2,000. Like, and so would a lot of people. Because these things are made of plastic and we need ones that are going to survive on set. Though they're so cheap, you could just replace them, I suppose. But honestly, like the Noto wheels or the inertia wheels of an Xbox controller are pretty needed with like much finer joystick control. These joysticks are a little, they're not all that precision. I'm still moving. Oh yeah, you guys can't see that anyway though. In your opinion, what would traditional compositing technique in the future? Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm skipping that step and just shooting it. And then shooting on LED walls for the bigger stuff. Do we need Cinetracer in order to use alpha wheels with Unreal? No, and you can't use alpha wheels anyway unless you know how to program them. Yeah, no official statements exactly on like how to use the wheels. Like I think I'll probably either release a plugin that's specifically for the Nodo stuff, or they should, or someone should. It's really easy. It's like just OSC. In Cinetracer, I haven't tested it yet. Cinetracer is getting like a massive rewrite because I updated from 4.22 Unreal Engine to I'm basically waiting for 4.25. So it's going to be like a massive rewrite. Ray tracing is super fast now though. Like I can turn on GI and it's like nothing, which is insane because GI in 4.22 means like 8 frames per second. GI for 4.25 and 2.4 is like very fast. I haven't tested it, but I've been doing 4K ray tracing on my like 2080 Ti, and it's been like I forgot that it was on, so sort of it was a little sluggy, but like I'll just have ray tracing fully on and just be like programming, and I was like, oh, it's still on. Like, but before it would be like you couldn't even move the editor if you had like everything on at once. The HOTAS? Hey, what's up, Craig? Maybe. Like really, I'm looking to make it look like a film set. You know, if someone wants to make it look like a like a flight sim, they can do that, but I have a specific purpose, which is to bring this to the film industry that exists today. So I'm going to be using, if at all possible, things that exist on film sets already, which you don't see too many HOTAS controllers. Not saying you couldn't, but we're going to use the same controllers that you have on a film set, map them one-to-one, and my goal is really so that like DPs that are working now, should they encounter a project that's in this vein, which is still very new, transition to it like instantly. Like it's not difficult. Like I work with a lot of DPs that don't play Fortnite or Counter-Strike, and they don't know how to WASD with a mouse because they're working, they're doing shit with their lives. They don't know how to do it. And I was like, oh damn, like that's crazy. So I've been really working on like, okay, we need the wheels, we need like not even Xbox controllers. We're working on something else, more akin to like almost like the joystick, the big joystick I have on my farm simulator. Oh, it's behind me. It's right there. That thing. Like that joystick, it's a joystick that spins. That could do it. Like just that, and then these together, and like and a fizz. I could virtualize like this whole process and make it like fairly simple. And then for like the more technically inclined, WASD, and then the Xbox controllers and that sort of thing. I know the younger drone operators are like can kill it anyway, but some of the people on the bigger sets, they don't know how to do that, and that's cool. That's fine, whatever. So I'm designing like kind of this system for it. So this in itself is actually, I just basically rewrote Cinetracer over the last 2 months, and it's this project. It took me 2 months to write this. And not only just like, how do you connect the dots and program it, but like, what is the right workflow? What needs to be mapped? What's the likely MOCAP workflow? That's why I reached out to so many MOCAP studios and just talking about like, what would you be delivering to me on this type of a shoot? Like what does that look like? And we're doing it now. Like, so it's also like looking at like the bigger workflow and then like, okay, how do we streamline all of this to make it like we're shooting on set? So this has been about 2 months of writing this. I've been publicly doing it basically like on YouTube and whatnot, but like, this shows most of it. The only piece missing now is lighting, which is fun too. But you can imagine like joysticks spin the sun in the sky. I can dim the sky up and down. I can spawn a light, swing it around using the Xbox controller, turn it up, turn it off, turn it off, turn it on, change the color. And it's like there's no mouse, no keyboard, like film set kind of stuff. Maybe you spin the wheels to change the color or whatever. It's just like, single channel at a time. And yeah, so it's like a different take on Cinetracer. Cinetracer is more like, currently it's more like a Maya hybrid, like a Maya Unreal Engine editor type experience with a Fortnite building system on top of it. It's a weird sales pitch when you put it that way. But this is more like, the sets are mostly pre-built, like, because like on a virtual production set, the DP is not touching the set. It's not going to happen. In Cinetracer, you have to, but like, no, like there's going to be a whole art team dumping this set on you. You load in this plugin that I just wrote. You plug in the wheels, you plug in the Xbox controller, and someone on the team has to plug in all the motion capture into the data table, which is fairly straightforward. It could probably be done with like a JSON file, to be honest, like automated. And then the DP then everyone else steps the fuck away from the thing, and the director and the DP shoot it. Like just like it is on set. Like it's like no one touched the dolly, no one talked to the director. Like we just do the whole thing ourselves. That's the idea. That's the hope with it, and that's for certain types of production. So this is that system. This is like Cinetracer 2, to be honest, like the way that I wrote it. But it really needs to be run off of the Unreal Engine editor. Like, it's not a standalone because you have to import MOCAP. You have to work with like highest fidelity, like Quixel assets and stuff like that. It's like you want to use the full Unreal Engine editor. But I've essentially taken what I liked of Cinetracer and what I like about Unreal Engine and I've like them together into this plugin with wheels and some other hardware integrations that'll come out very soon. And man, if the world wasn't broken, I would be bringing this like around I don't know the world, but like at least like LA and New York, and we'd be testing it with some various parties and trying to shoot some stuff with it. But I'll just build it here as well. Lots of buttons. Yeah, for the hotels. Yeah, I know. I feel like people don't know how to use them. Like, I don't know how to use one, but maybe someone does. They're just 0 to 1 values. So anyone that knows how to integrate hardware, you can, if you want to do the HOTAS, that's fine. I'm looking to make film industry stuff. I know it's like super foreign to a lot of people. 3-axis stick. Oh, okay. To be honest, what I foresee, and this is already happening, is the people that make film accessories, like film stuff like this, we're either gonna write the LiveLink plugins or they're gonna make new hardware that fits it even better, which is what I would prefer. This is like a good opportunity to do something like that. Cinetracer for Mac OS, yeah, it works, you know. The Space Mouse, that's basically like what I was talking about. That's basically like it's like a joystick, like one joystick, right? 2 axes, like up and down, left to right, and then it also goes up and down. I don't think it spins. I don't remember if it spins or not. I could see that being for like something, but I'm working with a company that has something that's very similar that I'm more inclined to work with that company versus I actually met the 3D Connection people a couple times at like conventions, but like I don't know. Maybe when I get bored and I gotta try something new, I would go for that. Any advice for where to start learning Unreal Engine for virtual production? On the Facebook group. I should have linked that shit. Unreal Engine Virtual Production Facebook group is your only hope in this world. It's the only way you have any chance. Ever end up trying After Effects Lockdown for lighting live action? Well, After Effects Lockdown. What? No, not really. It spins. It's 6ed off. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Space Mouse. Like I've used it for like CAD. I never owned one, but I've like used them. I guess. Again, I'm trying to do things that like look like a film set. That's mostly it. You know. I mean, for fun, I'll just basically buy. That's what I basically do anyway. Is buy all the hardware and try it. But like the foot pedals, like there's no foot pedals on film sets, so it's kind of like it's kind of not a great. And they're plastic. Like if someone made like a really beefy set, you know, so like a key grip could push them. You know, like they have to. They're not. Those wouldn't survive a film set, and the little connections so like dinky. Very consumer, which is why I like these the inertia wheels. Like these are tanks. These are film industry like $5,000 wheels, and that's what you need basically, because it's like oh, I saved. Film equipment goes like this. Like you basically like I saved a ton of money buying the inexpensive stuff. You brought it on set. There's like your one chance to like impress people and do a good job, and your shitty equipment breaks, and you're fucked. So you buy the expensive stuff. You use the expensive stuff. You rent the expensive stuff. And then if it breaks, it's basically like not your fault. It's basically always works that way. Especially something that's like, you know, spinning the camera, like, you know, moving the camera and that sort of thing. So all the accessories that like I'm going to be gravitating towards, they're all going to be like kind of heavy duty film stuff. And hopefully like super high latency as well. Like some of the cheaper stuff is really low latency or low encoder ticks or whatever. 8 million ticks per revolution. How are you anchoring the set and camera? Meaning, how do you change our camera position and you can change the scale of the world on the fly? I don't have anything like that bound now, but that's all just like reading an axis value from a controller and mapping it to something on here. The virtual setup, the virtual Vive, didn't someone do a tutorial on that? I don't really do tutorials yet. I'm just like making shit. And this demo. Why am I still streaming? How long has this been? An hour. Oh, perfect. Perfectly an hour, pretty much. This is a great time to wrap it up. Professional hardware makes sense considering you'll be working with live cameras. Yeah, that's the other aspect is like, I just played a video game for an hour essentially and did all the CG stuff, and like that's great. I like that type of virtual production an awful lot. I'm going to be doing a lot. But you know, yeah, once we switch back into like virtual production, mixed reality, virtual production, LED wall, it's like you need to have real film equipment again. It can't be, you know, unless you figured something out, you can't map Xbox controllers back to gimbals, right? You have to use like the actual, I forget the controller everyone uses for drones, right? That you have to use those ones. So that hardware, you know, it's like if you're all CG or all VFX, it's not worth the time. But you know, if you're operating techno cranes with like Movi Pros on the end, which is like real common now, it's like the wheels long term, you know, make a lot of sense to learn if you operate. Not every DP operates remote heads. The AE lockdown to generate a UV and light it in Maya. I don't know what that means. AE lockdown. Is AE After Effects? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what that is. At least the Space Mouse would look better to replace the Xbox controller. I'm not against it. I haven't done it yet. I should probably buy one. Yeah, the Xbox controller is a little bit... The only thing is the Xbox controller is so functional because it has so many buttons on it. I was in the middle of mapping a MIDI controller and I was like, I don't want to do this. So like these are... The company I'm working with, they make a better... it'll be announced soon. They have a much better solution. And then for now, Xbox is so easy. There's so many buttons. I just use it. But yeah, it's not a good look. As silly as just like the perception of it is, if you're on set and like the camera department's holding an Xbox controller, it just doesn't look right. It doesn't look good on like a big set. Like even if like it's the drone operator, they could probably get away with it because like they wear like the VR glasses and stuff. But like there's just like some perception things that it's like, what's that game toy doing here? So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if someone just makes an Xbox controller that costs $5,000 but looks like a film set accessory, you have a business putting that out there. I know people are already kind of doing that. What does the control setup look like for a Russian arm? Oh, it's like 5 people at once. Someone's driving the car. Someone's got the big joystick. They're big joysticks, a lot of them, and then wheels for the head. These guys. What's up, Tiger? Oh, damn. How to connect the Vive Unreal? I showed it. It's one fucking blueprint. You get the position of the Vive controller and you make the camera that position. There's nothing easier. This is 2 months of way harder. That's the great part about Unreal Engine and Steam VR is it's so easy. It's like super easy. James Cameron operates all the camera moves on Avatar with wheels. Yeah, I bet. It's because like there's no other way. It's like I get angry with certain people who shall remain nameless and have been banned. It's like they're like, oh, like wheels, like that's the old way. Like blah, blah. I was like, no. Every movie you fucking watch from Dave Fincher and Roger Deakins operates every single one of his shots from wheels. All of Blade Runner was on a remote head. Like that's what we do. It's been tried and tested. There's all this new technology. Blah blah blah. It's wheels. Wheels forever is the only good way of operating cameras, in my opinion. I just watched Blade Runner 2049 last night. Guess what? Every fucking shot is with wheels, just like this. That's how it goes down. Gonna have a Fisher 10 in my living room. Well, this is the next best thing. I don't want a Fisher 10. That's huge. What's up, SM Donnie, fellow checkmark person? Racing Jones controller. Yeah, I mean, I'm only somewhat semi-serious with like the Xbox controller, but there's, you know, if a more film industry, like honestly, if they just come up with like a controller that has bigger sticks, like the drone controllers, like the joysticks are taller and there's more resistance to them and they're just finer encodings. Like you take whatever encoder is in this and you like triple it, make a film industry one, make the thing heavy, make it have like proper mounting to like stack on top of film equipment. We gotta buy it. It needs really fast Bluetooth or some sort of connection that like really fast. I don't know how that stuff works though. Surface dial? Oh, I have a Surface dial. Yeah, but no one has those though. Like that's the only thing. Like I love Microsoft sent it to me. I love Microsoft. Love you guys. But like I just like it's like if I integrate it, not that many people have it. That's the only thing. I guess not that many have these wheels either. They're just it's just a weird hardware piece. Like I don't know where to put it because it's like it's not really like a film accessory. It's just a weird one. I like it a lot. But it's a hard one to like be like if I polled how many people have it, it's like I don't know how many I'm gonna get back for that. Wouldn't you need to sync the mocap FX to the background? Yeah, so that's another thing. So yeah, like so basically if I play this back at 0.1 speed, the clouds are still moving at the speed that they're going. So It depends. So like if you're gonna do a scene that's like choreographed, like this dude like runs through the hall and there's an explosion, he jumps over like a box, he kicks something, he interacts with the set, then you have to do this in sequencer, and then you play back the sequence, is what you'd have to do. And then when I play back the sequence, then I can control back the play speed. This stuff is very much like independent of the environment, like nothing triggers at the same time. So that's to speak to that point. If you wanted everything to be sunk together, you would then have to go to sequencer. Or I'd have to like literally write a video game with like collision boxes. Like if his hand goes through here, it triggers this, and it's like, it gets a little sketchy. So if you're doing like a 5-minute one take, yeah, you're in sequencer. But I'm talking about like your bread and butter, like someone's just talking to someone else. They're, just walking around. Like I think a lot of that can be done in this way. What wheels? These are inertia wheels by Nodo. Nodo. Can you just one VR controller? I don't know what that means. Tablet, something. For the Lion King, they used a Steadicam and tracked it to get the look. Yeah, Lion King, they used everything. That's like where I get all this from. I was on set with Magnopus for a month. I heard all the stories, read all the articles, watched the movie, and I bought it. I was like, I'm into this shit. That's like what I've been doing. Is like I've been like remaking the Magnopus setup basically. Here, I don't have a Steadicam though. I was gonna get a Ronin S or whatever, that little one, and do it, but I'm like, I don't know. One of the next things I have to figure out is like I'm doing like A to B moves right now, and it's real smooth and sexy, but like it's like, what about 3 points? I don't think it's going to be that much harder to write, but I wrote this thing with a timeline because timelines are so easy. And so the next step would be to, instead of it like doing linear interpolates, I'd have to do a spline, which I've done runtime spline stuff before. It's not too bad. And then you just get position on spline and you lerp the position percentage over the timeline. It wouldn't be that bad. But I think like in my mind, the way I do cinematic camera moves is always A to B. Like I don't like technocranes. I don't do like arcs. You don't arc technocranes. Like you position A to position B linear, really. Like arcing is like, that is really like a Steadicam kind of thing. So I look at this rig more as like a big, like I treat it like it's a big heavy dolly or a big heavy technocrane, and not like a handheld gimbal and like flipping all around. But that's fun for sure too. At that point, it starts to look a little bit more like sequencer world, where it's like, oh, we like fly up to his eye and then zoom out to like his, like then that type of precision. I think you need like a. Then it starts to look like keyframes. It looks like motion control kind of work, like if you're working like a 6X robot or something like that. Whereas this is more like your bread and butter dolly move, like simple stuff, like, simple coverage that should be simple to execute. That's the way I look at it. But it could get more complicated, but like I think the more complicated it gets, the more sequencer makes like a ton of sense. Motion blur with Alembic solved? I have no idea. I haven't done any Alembic stuff with this for the hair. Yeah, the drone. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they flew the drone, and there's the whole behind the scenes, like what actual. I tried to ask them this. I was like, so what actual shot though made it into the movie? They said it was. I was like, okay, maybe, but I'm all for that because like, I don't know. I think it looks better, and that's my position in the world. If a more VFX centric virtual production person pops out and starts doing things that aren't behind the paywalls of the big movies, love to talk with them. I have not met that person yet. They're like, no, this is the way that it should be done, and then they can show me how it's better. I'm all ears. I'd love to see it, but I know camera moves how I know camera moves, and lighting how I know lighting. It's all live action performance stuff. So all I'm ever trying to do is bend any 3D program to work that way. This is my current progress on it. Cinetracer version 2 just got written over this break. But I can essentially adapt Cinetracer to this. Cinetracer Core has to be rewritten, essentially. Especially if we're going to do like undo stacks and all that stuff, which it's possible. It's just boring to program. It's not fun. It's like, 3 weeks of undo programming. Control Z, it looks awesome. It sucks. But I think I have the basic concepts for Unreal enough to do undo stacks for at least like translation, and maybe certain things. It's complicated. It gets really complicated with how the classes interact. If you have to like, because I'm not doing manual garbage collection, so I have to keep track if they got deleted, and it's just a lot of stuff. So I still haven't finished it because it's hard to write. If it was easy to write, I would have done it. AI could do AI driven moves. Oh yeah, I guess so. I'm not like super interested in just like that, in just how that sounds already. But yeah, that's cool. I just have to see it. If you go write something, Greg, show me a demo. You make YouTube videos. I'll watch your videos on it. Finally managed to do animated scenes. Figure out how to attach facial mocap to body mocap. That's pretty easy. You use Maya or Motion Builder or iClone, and they're just curves. They're just like animation layers, except instead of it like rotating an arm, it opens a mouth, and you keyframe the shit out of it, or you mocap it and you blend them together. You're gonna need like Motion Builder or Maya. Blender is not an option, unfortunately, for that type of work. I don't think you can blend them together in UE4 unless you made a blueprint that did it. You could like blend at the like. It depends on how you're getting your data together. You could technically write a blueprint that blended them together. I think that's going to be kind of a mess. You're best off to just go into Motion Builder and Maya and just curve it up, paste the curves on there. Motion blur with Alembic. You know, this scene had motion blur. I'm going to watch this stream back, so I'm going to see. Though I'm not ever... What am I even... Like, recording at 30 frames per second? I don't know. Motion blur looks like it's a little different in 2.4. I have to look at it more. Endgame, replacing physical production or augmenting it. No, not really. I don't think we're replacing physical production with anything like this. This is just different. It's just another thing. The iPhone... Yeah, the iPhones kind of suck for this. They make okay 5-minute demos, but like in actual use, I think they're not very good for camera tracking or face. Like they get it done for like an Animoji for like a few minutes, but if you were like try to like just like run it for like an hour of mocap, it's a little bit like, and then the latency is kind of crap. Depending, it can be bad. It's not like production-y. It's not a production tool. Like you can get it to work and you can maybe figure out something with it, but it's not like production quality mocap for camera tracking. It's not production quality face tracking because so many things can screw it up. In like the perfect situation, it can do okay. But like, I'm moving on to like dynamic XYZ or faceware or something like that. Or just working. I just work with MoCap Studios. It's too much. It's too technical for me. I don't want to do it. 4.25. Okay. Yeah, is there better motion blur? Well, as soon as 4.2, I'm waiting to update Cinetracer until 4.25 comes out, so I'm down. I'm gonna jump into that. I already broke it with 4.24. A whole bunch of stuff doesn't work, so I'm like, well, I might as well really break it and rewrite the whole thing, basically. That's what I'll do. What's up, Dinah Levine? This is the end of the stream. Cool. So thanks for hanging out. It's just another step in the process of writing this kind of like Unreal Engine Cinetracer thing I'm doing here. Data in and out, switch SW as entities. I don't know what that means. Alan, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what you're talking about, man. Okay, I'm gonna run. I'm gonna be watching like, I'm gonna watch this live stream myself like 10 times just to like watch the workflow and look for things that are broken and just kind of watch it. Because like when you're operating it, you don't really see the quality. You just kind of like looking at the box. So I'm gonna watch that back. And we might live stream some of the like actual shoots if I get all the hardware up and running, because like so far my computer handles this fine. This was 4K. I was just doing a 4K ray tracing live stream in Unreal. It was completely fine. And so we're shooting in 1080 and I'm going to record it externally, so it should be possible. I don't know if it's any fun though, but we'll find out. Oh yeah, I bet it is. Yeah, my son's watching. Okay, thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll see you around. Peace.